Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this. This is Kocosports.net presenting Wrestle AM for the 13th of February 2017. I'm your host, LK from Kocosports.net. That's KOCO Sports.net. It's where the world goes to cash in for combat sports, and above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. I'm going solo for this evening. Apologies about that. It does happen every now and then, but I'm going to go solo, so bear with me. Going to be reviewing Monday Night Raw, maybe talking a little bit about news, but more importantly, we're going to be answering your comments. So if you're watching live right now, please put in the comments win, loss, or ties, and your thoughts and queries and comments about tonight's edition of Monday Night Raw, and you guys can be the ones who keep me company. So we're live from Las Vegas, as they mentioned, about 17,289 times last week, for the 13th of February 2017 edition of Monday Night Raw. But I didn't get a win, loss, or tie, so we'll jump straight to the chase. I'm going to give this show a tie. A weak tie. I enjoyed the main event. What did I enjoy? I enjoyed the Samoa Joe and Sami Zayn stuff. I enjoyed the Sami Zayn match. I really enjoyed the turn by Kevin Owens on Chris Jericho. So there was stuff good. There was a lot of stuff that was very bad and is the reason it gets a weak tie. So they're the reason to be blamed. So the show starts off like always. Stephanie McMahon, she comes out. She's given Foley the night off and says she is running Raw. Roman Reigns interrupts. And Michael Cole, I don't know if any of you catch on this and it pisses you off as much as it pisses me off. Every single time Roman Reigns comes out, Michael Cole goes, "The big dog." And every time I hear it, I just picture some guy on Facebook in Roman Reigns' fan page, Twitter, going, "The big dog." And it cracks up every time. So Steph gives phone night off. Roman Reigns comes out. Steph says the fans don't care about Roman, but she does. Stephanie then announces Mark Henry versus Braun Strowman, which for a split millisecond, I wanted to close the laptop down and leave this office. The club, the tag champs, come up. Club says they are sick of listening to him and offers a 2-on-1 handicap match against Roman Reigns. Stephanie makes this handicap match official. Reigns beats on the club until referee separates them, already making the club look like jokes. Like there's two of them on the ramp and they can't beat up Roman Reigns, and now expecting to care about Roman Reigns versus the club in a handicap match. It's just bullshit. It is. It's Wrestle AM, it's half morning show, half wrestling show, pretty much all bullshit, and that was bullshit. It drives me insane how bad this product is. Like, the club shouldn't be in this. Why are the club involved in Reigns again? Because we don't like what you said. He didn't really say much because he's not a very good long-talking promo. He doesn't talk. It was bullshit. I hated it. And what I hated more was Reigns versus the club. Ref DQ'd after 3 minutes as the club didn't tag out. They just beat on him. Reigns then destroys the tag champs. Like they were nothing, you know. The tag champs were meant to be the best tag team in the world. Couldn't defeat one guy. One guy. And you fed the club to Reigns. Fed him. They fed them on purpose. It wasn't like, you could have done anything. You could have chucked Roman Reigns versus Juiced Up Jinder. You know, you could have done Roman Reigns versus Bo Dallas or Roman Reigns versus my boy Curtis Axel. You could have done that. You could have just fed him someone. Fuck, even have a local jobber. But to feed him the tag champs and you're wondering why no one cares about anyone. And I'm going to talk about this during the Sami Zayn and Rusev match. The WWE's problem is they book one person well and 18 other people very badly. And it's the same thing every week coming out and say the reason why the WWE isn't as popular as it used to be is because, well, WWE try and produce one star, one megastar. That's not going to work anymore. The time of having, Hulk Hogan, then Steve Austin, then John Cena, that time is over. It's funny enough, people tune in to watch pro wrestling. Do you know what they tune in to watch? Storytelling, characters, stories, and wrestling. WWE tonight delivered an okay story. Two good matches. Characters. Samoa Joe was quite cool. Three things. In a 3-hour and 10-minute show, it's not acceptable. And it's fucking downright depressing. And then we go Kofi Kingston versus Bo Dallas. Bo is still employed now. You know, they get the chants that piss me off. We talked about that last night on the Chamber review. About that, they changed awesome and you deserve it. Like, that, why wasn't there holy shit chants when fucking Bo Dallas is still employed? You know, that why isn't that a talking point? Aren't we lucky I didn't create a whole video in its own right saying Bo Dallas is employed? Speaking of unemployed, as I fucking break, that landed right on my cock. Speaking of that, anyway, I am wearing trousers. I promise you I'm wearing trousers just about. Anyway, different story, different time. where were we? Oh yeah, Rosa Mendes. As this is Wrestle AM, so we do talk about news as well. Rosa Mendes has apparently retired. I sent a text message to one of my friends who absolutely despises her and hates her with a passion, and he said, "I've got some champagne, we can pop it open right now." I couldn't go around because it was like 12:30 a.m. in the morning, and I was trying to sort out my, some iTunes stuff because MMA AM, like I'm really digging it, and I'm really getting to know people in the MMA community. I'm having a referee on Sunday from MMA, and I'm going to be making MMA because you guys are here for Wrestle AM. You guys are here for the Wrestle AM, the wrestling content. So you guys don't really give a fuck about the mixed martial art. There is some of you, but don't worry about that because the viewership just isn't there, and it just mentally, you don't have to worry about it. But MMA AM will move to iTunes and a different YouTube channel because this needs to be the best damn wrestling content provider in the world. There will be no one who reviews Raw, no one who reviews SmackDown, no one reviews NXT, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, New Japan, pay-per-views, previews, anywhere else but here because we do all of them for you. Fucking, how did Bo Dallas go to Rosa Mendes, go to MMA, iTunes? How the fuck did that get there? No idea. Anyway, Kingston versus Dallas. So pre-match, the New Day announced that they will be announcing their ice cream post-match. So Bo destroyed the ice cream plans. Kofi got pissed off. It took kick on Hilo. Bo with a nice swinging neck break off the ropes. Kofi with the SOS to get the win. The match is okay, but the ice cream shit is fucking horrific. Like, I'm so over the New Day now. I was over them a few months ago, and it's like just they're like a little mosquito. They're like, just like, oh, fuck off. Like, I just, enough's enough now. You know, they didn't need the tag belts, but when I think about it now, at least that gave them a purpose. You know, the longest reigning tag champs, because they've been doing jack shit. Literally jack shit for the past while. Backstage, Neville says he'll make short work of Gallagher at Fastlane. Gallagher walks in. Neville says he isn't even on his level. Gallagher says he basically just rants on him and calls him a pillock. It's all right. Then Jack Gallagher, no one da. Gallagher wins a nothing match. Neville comes out on the ramp, you know, raises it in the air like they did last week on 205 Live. That was about it. Star and a half. Nothing really to write home about. The limo arrives. Samoa Joe and Triple H come out. I like that. I do. I like that. They used to do this in WCW a lot. During the Monday Night Wars, they used to have the NWO come out. I like it because you don't know who's in the limo. You know, I thought, oh, okay, Goldberg. Because if I'm correct, Goldberg was actually advertised for this show. Like, I don't know if it was just for the live audience, but Goldberg was advertised for this show and they didn't use him. I was very shocked because I was expecting Goldberg to get out the limo. And when Joe and H did it, was kind of like, okay, that's cool. And then this one I could picture a lot of people going mad over. Emelina come out because the thing is on social media, Emelina is this thing, everyone's like, oh, next week, when's it going to happen, blah, 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 I'm excited, blah, 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 blah. I was like, I couldn't really give a fuck. I'm going to be pretty, I couldn't really give a fuck. But she came out in a dress. Corey Graves is just hysterical. You know, he's basically ejaculating or coming inside his pants. Emelina says, now you will see the makeover from Emelina to Emma. She leaves. Corey Graves is very upset. He's angry. He's hyperventilating. He's a pissed off man. Poor Corey Graves, but she looks smoking hot. It was all good. Then we have a backstage interview of Bayley. Bayley says, I'm in the main event of Monday Night Raw, and says tonight she will achieve her dream. Good little promo, short and sweet. Backstage, Jericho and Kevin Owens get pumped up for their friendship gimmick they have later on. Triple H walks in, shakes hands with both of them, but says he needs to have a word with Kevin Owens. Again, remember that for later on. And then they announced Cena versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE title rematch on SmackDown Live tomorrow. And again, we will be back live for Wrestle AM tomorrow. That's the 14th of February. We'll be covering that as soon as SmackDown Live goes off the air. Backstage, you see Triple H and Kevin Owens talking, but no sound. I like that. Intrigue. A hook. You know, because now, like, oh, what are they talking about? I have to find out. How are you going to do that? Continue watching the show. You know, good little television. You know, it was all well and good saying, oh, it's a bad pro wrestling show, but it is a weekly episodic television program, so they still need to be a good TV show. So I was happy they did that at least. Then they had Braun Strowman versus Mark Henry. I legit went for a piss. When I don't even know if Henry got... When I came back, that they brawled, that being Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. They brawl until Reigns goes for a spear, but Strowman counters it into a power slam. Strowman looks strong. I dug that, but Reigns will beat him at Fastlane. And here's a good question for you guys if you're in the live chat right now. Where the fuck do they go from there with Braun Strowman? Like, Reigns are obviously going to set up Taker. Now, there's two ways about this. Either A, Braun Strowman can defeat Roman Reigns at Fastlane, and you could do that. You can do that by having Taker, lights out, lights on, Taker, Tombstone, Roman Reigns, leaves him there in the middle of the ring. Strowman covers 1, 2, 3, or if it's a last man standing match like it should be, Strowman can win by that. That way you're protecting both talents. Or the inevitable could happen, and everything, and everyone that has a brain cell that's active will know that Roman Reigns will beat Braun Strowman at Fastlane. Where does Strowman go from there? How do you, Vincent fuckity McMahon, protect Braun Strowman at the pay-per-view? I'll be very interested and intrigued. And this match, by the way, I couldn't give a fuck about. This Strowman and Reigns, like on the pre-show panel on yesterday, like in the first half an hour with Sam Roberts and shit like that. I don't know why I did that. I don't even know if he does. I just because I assumed he's a cocksucker because he was on the pre-show. Like I'm guessing if I came on here and started sucking cocky, A, we'd have a lot more subs, and B, probably fingers, you never know where I could be, but different people have they got. And you know what? Back to the Sam Roberts thing. Good for him. He probably achieved his dream of being on WWE television. Good for him. I'm not going to make he's shacking. I'm not. I'm happy for the guy. I was sending a text to one of my friends yesterday. He's like, "Who's that guy?" I said, "I think it's Sam Roberts," because it came up on the screen. Like, oh, okay. And good for him. And that's his dream. I have a different dream, but that's his dream, and he accomplished it. But guys, I don't even know what happened with Strowman and Henry, but not worth watching anyway. Then we have backstage Cass and Enzo argue with Cesaro and Sheamus about what happened at last night's tag team match, whatever. Then we have a sit-down interview with Samoa Joe. Joe says the only opinion he cares about is Triple H's, as he was the only one who gave him a chance. He says because of him, Seth Rollins will miss WrestleMania again. He brags about beating Roman Reigns. He says he isn't another Sami Zayn. He was just happy to be on the roster. I like that. That little line there was good. Good little promo as well from Joe. I miss those WWE.com sit-down interviews. I generally do miss those sit-down interviews that Michael Coyce do. It used to be I think it was on a Thursday or a Friday. It was one of the above. And they were quite good at, enhancing the story. And I was moaning about not caring about the characters. This is a great, easy, and simple way to do that. So I'm happy this happened. It made Joe look independent. It was good. And, Joe and Zayn, as we'll touch on next. Zayn versus Rusev. Jinder Mahal was not with him. Maybe he finally got done for the steroids. WWE is... And I'm going to talk about this as I mentioned earlier on, because I have to go back, because I talked about that earlier on. They're very inconsistent. Now, here's an example. Okay, so you have Rusev. In October, he was the monster heel. A few months later, he's nothing. Sami Zayn. They did a good job again building him against Strowman, making him look like the ultimate underdog, beating Seth Rollins. A few weeks later, he's nothing. WWE is failing because they fail to make stars. The talent is there, ladies and gentlemen. The talent, you guys aren't idiots. You can see that there is clearly a shed loads of talent in the WWE right now. There is a shed load, especially if you get up the mid card, Sami Zayn talent, Curtis Axel, in my opinion, talent, Cesaro, Carl Anderson talent, Kofi Kingston, Rusev talent, Kevin Owens talent. At least they're doing stuff for Kevin Owens. If you can go up and down this card, Sheamus talent. Who else have we got? That's main event, blah, blah, blah. New Day talent. The Cruiserweights. They have... This is just Monday Night Raw. I'm not talking about SmackDown. AJ Styles, even Baron Corbin to a certain extent. They've got so much talent, and they fail them. They fail them, and they fail them miserably. And it's sad. It's pathetic. They have such a talented roster. Sami Zayn versus Rusev should be a big fucking deal. It should be two upper mid-carders, fighting for momentum, fighting for maybe a future championship shot, make that US title relevant again. But they're not, because they failed them. They build a bit of momentum, and then what happens? Boom, you're fed to Roman Reigns. Boom, you're fed to Brock Lesnar. Boom, you're fed to Goldberg. Boom, you're fed to Undertaker. Boom, you're fed to John Cena. Boom, you're fucking fed to, if you build a sports entertainer from the ground up, you get Randy Orton. They consistently do it. It's a shame. And it pisses me the fuck off. Such talent to not use. How hard is it to have Sami Zayn, that ultimate underdog, and then finally he wins the big one. He won the big one. And then it meant something, and you care. And you're like, oh, I love Sami Zayn. I want to support that man. I'll buy his merch, because I love that guy. If you noticed, you don't really see me wearing WWE merch anymore. I don't care about any of these characters. I'm not emotionally attached to any of these fuckers, and it's not their fault. It is not the wrestler's fault. And if there is ever a good pay-per-view the writers don't deserve the credit. The credit is on the wrestlers. The wrestlers went out there and busted their ass. These Vincent Kennedy McMahon cocksuckers are toxic and a cancer of the wrestling industry. I refuse to buy merchandise from the WWE anymore. That stage is gone. I refuse. I don't know why I went on this rant. I don't understand. It pissed me off to the point where I was just ranting on my notes that I took. It just drives me up the wall. It really, really fucking does. But the match itself was great. If you added care and interest, why was Sami Zayn versus Rusev happening? It was happening they were wrestling for the sake of having a wrestling match on television. And that's not good enough. You could have had Rusev attack Zayn backstage. You could have said the winner of this could potentially get a number one contenders match, or the winner of this gets to enter a number one contenders match next week to determine a number one contender for the US title at Fastlane. Would that have been difficult? Would that have really been difficult? Fucking anyway. Zayn with a nice tope con hilo. Rusev with a really nice super kick as Zayn goes for a springboard, and then a haluva kick from out of nowhere to get the win. I generally really enjoyed this match. It was a really good match. Again, if you had added the element of story, if you added the element of consistent build of these guys, that could have meant something. And Rusev, that poor boy, what have they done to him? They're calling him handsome now. Dude, it's not fair, because I feel bad. I don't want to come out here and bash Monday Night Raw every fucking week. I don't want to be at work and dread Mondays, not because it's Monday, but because it's Raw. It's boring. It's depressing. It's really bad television. It's not only a bad wrestling show, it's a bad television show. Like, the stories are inconsistent, the characters are inconsistent. 1 minute they're high on him, and then the next minute they're high on him. Just fucking build a fucking story with every one of your roster and make everyone matter. These guys will get over, they will try. Look at Cesaro. There was a point in that match feud with Sheamus. The crowd were buzzing, they were red hot from those Cesaro section fans fucking all the time. He skyrocketed, and then no, what happens now? I don't give a fuck about Cesaro. When was the last time you heard me talk about Cesaro? He's in a fucking shitty tag feud with fucking Enzo and Cass and Cesaro, Sheamus, so who gives a shit? WWE did that to him. That was not his fault. He goes out there, he delivers every night. Not his fault. And then post-match, Zayn says losing to Jericho sucked. Talks about that being a step in the right direction. Says Joe is no Sami Zayn. Start talking about Mania. Joe music hits, so Zayn is staring at Joe on the right, because he's about to come out the entranceway. But then Joe from behind attacks Sami Zayn, throws him into the LED board, and the Koji clutches Sami Zayn, making him pass out. 3 stars because I really enjoyed the match. And if they're going to go with Joe versus Zayn at Mania, you're going to hear no complaints from me at all. Then we had Akira Tozawa versus Araya Davari. Brian Kendrick's on commentary for, again, these cruiserweights, like 205 Live last week was good. I really enjoyed that. The five-way, for the number contendership for the cruiserweight title. I enjoyed that. But Tozawa, I don't know, because I just don't trust them anymore. I don't trust them produce good shows. Good matches, sorry. I don't trust, not Tozawa, of course. Of course I trust Tozawa. I would trust Tozawa over anything, when it comes to producing a good match. This is happening because of the sake of happening, because Brian Kendrick is Akira Tozawa, is Brian Kendrick's protege. You have Akira Tozawa, one of the best under 205 pounds wrestlers in the world, and you're doing a story with Brian Kendrick. Can we do to Jerry versus Brian Kendrick in the Retirement League on 205 Live, please? I don't want Tozawa with fucking Kendrick. Have Tozawa in the mix. Have him in there with Neville. Tozawa versus Pac, from Dragon Gate style. Have Tozawa in there, with fucking Rich Swann. Have him in there with all those, not TJ, I'm going for a fucking P. That guy needs to be unemployed. He can be a fucking official. He can be the ref of 205 Live. It's just sad. And the crowd is so dead when Davari is punching him and screaming. You can hear a fucking echo in the building. Tozawa of the Tope Suicida using his head and a snap German to get the win. The match was all right. The crowd didn't give a fuck. And you know what? I always moan about this, but it's not the crowd's fault. It's not the wrestlers' fault. It's the WWE's fault for not making the fans care. This wrestling match was happening. Why? Because it was happening. There was no need. There was no reason. There was no interest. It's bad television. It's really bad television. And it's not the wrestler's fault. I can't stress this enough. It's not the wrestler's fault. It's the shitty creative's fault. And then, speaking of shitty, someone else must have written that segment. Someone from Lucha Underground must have jumped in here to write this segment, because this was actually a very good segment. The Festival of Friendships with Jericho and Kevin Owens. Jericho's entrance, he has a blazer, he has this hat, and there's women here, and he's there dancing. It's making me laugh, and generally, of how serious he's taking it. Kevin Owens comes out looking the exact same as normal, and a bit in shock over how fucking weird Jericho's been. So they're in the ring. Jericho basically has a sculpture of two people kissing, and he has it for Kevin Owens. Then there's a painted picture of Jericho and Kevin Owens. He called it the creation of Kevin. And then says he should put it over, his fireplace. And Kevin says, "No, I got a 9-year-old kid, goddammit." Jericho then brings out a magician. The crowd don't really care. Jericho puts Friendship the Magician on the list. Jericho says he's calling out Goldberg to the ring, but it cuts to a commercial. And that was okay. I mean, it prevented you from changing the channel when they got cheeky ad money in there. Sad bastards. Gilbert comes out. Kevin Owens attacks him when he's on the ramp. I'm going to be honest, I marked out when Gilbert came out. I thought that was really cool. Jericho then says Kevin Owens will beat Goldberg at Fastlane as he has his back. Kevin Owens says, "I love you too, buddy," and gives Jericho a gift. Kevin Owens gives him a present. Jericho opens it up. It says, "A new list? Why is my name on it?" And he turns it around and it says the list of KO. And then Kevin Owens attacks Jericho. He powerbombs him on the apron, smashes Jericho into his own Jeritron. And that, my friends, is a motherfucking heel. That is how you do. Like Kevin Owens, fight Owens, fight. Like, you won't be chanting that now. You'd be die Owens die. Well, not literally, because you'll get in trouble for that. But he is now a heel, full-fledged heel. I like that. There should be nothing, tweener about him. I like this full heel. And the question on everyone's mind now: will Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho be for the US title? Or will it be for the Universal title? Because they could do this. Think about this. You have Orton and Bray for the W title, Jericho KO for the Universal title, Reigns Taker, Brock Bill. Brock and Bill Goldberg does not need the Universal Championship. This does. You could take Kevin Owens and Jericho. Okay, that's an upper mid-card match. If you, boom, smash that Universal title on there, that match becomes a main event. That you can now build this as not only a triple main event, a quadruple main event. You got 2 world title matches. Brock Lesnar versus Bill Goldberg for the last time ever. And, the big dog. Fucking him, I fucking hate that, man. But Roman Reigns versus Taker. The Undertaker, sorry. That's simple. That's 4 huge matches. That's not even having a Cena match in there. Because Big Match John is going to have a match on there. I'm guessing it's that mixed tag match. But fuck me sideways. And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, I will be going to live comments. So please feel free to put the comments in below. And then backstage, Jericho gets into an ambulance. Enzo and Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro. Again, Cesaro needs to be put in a fucking good singles program. The guy could get over. He's just not given the chance. He got over, and they took that rug. He was there like, whoa. That's what it felt like watching it. I felt bad for the poor boy. Anyway, Cesaro with a nice pop-up uppercut got the win. It did nothing for me. If you went for a piss, I wouldn't have blamed you. Then the main event for the Raw Women's Championship, Bayley versus champion Charlotte. Every Bayley entrance, guys. I hate Byron Saxton a little bit more. Like, I just want to punch him in the face, which sucks because that's not his job. Normally we come out here and I want to punch him in the face. That means he's good at his job. No, it means he's bad at his job and he needs to be fired right now. Charlotte with the moonsault off the barricade. I love the double cross body spot. Bayley with Hurricane one off the top for 2. The crowd are really fucking electric for this. Dana Brooke distracts Bayley. Bayley then with a figure 4, but Dana Brooke rakes Bayley's eyes. Charlotte with the figure 8, but Sasha Banks comes out. She takes up Dana Brooke, hits Charlotte with a crutch. Bayley then hits the belly to Bayley, to get the win. Cole was incredible in this, like for all the shit Michael Cole gets. He was incredible in this and made it fucking so much more special. And I've said this on so many damn shows now. WWE is a moment company. They're not a good storytelling company. They're not a good wrestling company. Heck, they're not even good human beings. They're not even a good, company, good ethical company. But they're a moment company, and they are good at moments. If you watch WWE, and you watch it on YouTube, you watch the W's YouTube highlights, and you just watch the Bayley part, you just watch the Jericho part, you watch the Sami Zayn and Joe altercation, you'll be like, Raw is amazing. Raw is amazing that's what you'd feel. Because it's a moment company. I'm pretty sure when they have their critic, they'll be like, okay, we'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this. Okay, they're the moments. Fuck everything else. You know, they can wrestle and Bo Dallas can wrestle Kingston. What's the story? Just fucking chuck some silly gimmick on that fucking ice cream. They talked about that last week, didn't they? Do that. Oh, you over there. What have you got for Cesaro? Well, fucking, what do you mean got for Cesaro? You know, the crowd liked the Cesaro section. What you got? Just throw him in there with Sheamus. He ain't doing anything much, and just chuck them in there with Enzo and Cass. They ain't doing anything else. It's just lazy. I cannot stand it. But it was a great moment. Cole did the good job. Bayley did a good job of selling it. She hadn't celebrated in the crowd. 3.25 star match. Best match on the show as you expect. It's the main event. It should be. I just felt like they did nothing to promote the main event. Like, there was no Charlotte promo. There was no promo from Bayley. But there was a promo from Bayley, but don't want to spew lies here. There was a promo from Bayley, but there was no, like, return from Charlotte. There was no video package. Nothing. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we go. Live comments time tonight. Victor Varela says hello. Andy Pap says Bayley. Ronnie S. Big win. Thomas Saboski win. Victor Varela strong tie. Lots of wins. I guess I really enjoyed the attack from Jericho. I really liked the main event. I enjoyed Sami Zayn versus Rusev and the Sami Zayn Joe stuff. I didn't like let me just quickly recap. I didn't like the cruiserweight stuff as always. What else didn't I really like? The Enzo and Cass arguing, Strowman and Henry, the Strowman and Reigns stuff, the club stuff, the fucking other cruiserweight match, the Kofi and Bo Dallas stuff, the New Day ice cream stuff. There was a lot I didn't like, but each to their own. Gary North, you might as well fed the whole roster to Roman. It is getting like that, isn't it? Ronnie S says, hashtag juiced up Jinder. MA Cod 114, agreed. Way to make Gallows and Anderson look even weaker. Can't even beat down one man. It's a travesty, isn't it? Victor Vare, I think the club lost any chance to make a good statement on the stable history. They just look like fodder for any babyface that need a push. Long, the club will lose to Enzo and Cass, probably. Ronnie S, MMA AM was a good idea anyway. MMA AM, while we're in comment time, is a bit more loosey-goosey. MMA AM will have its own YouTube channel. So I'm going to create that, but it'll be on iTunes. It'll be on iTunes and Stitcher Radio because, you know, we got the YouTube stuff here, and I was looking at the viewership and I was like, the MMA show was getting like, 60 and 70 views, whereas, the wrestling stuff gets 200 to 1,000. Wrestling is where we should be heading. We should be doing more wrestling stuff. MMA stuff, there's a great community out there, a really fucking great community, and I'm really enjoying working there. So I'm thinking, why don't you, it's me doing it. I'm not doing it with Kocosports. I'm not doing it with Sam. I'm not doing it with Boom. I'm not doing it with Dave. I'll parlay onto my own stuff. I'll have my own YouTube channel for MMA AM, and I'll have my own for MMA AM. But don't worry, there'll still be the same consistent amount of wrestling shows. There will always be a Wrestle AM. Gary North, Emelina looked fine. Hashtag fuck Zack Ryder. Comment of the night so far. Hashtag fuck Zack Ryder. Shame Emma does that. Gary North, if Braun beats Roman, it won't be clean. Vince can't have Roman take a pin. No, he can't. Club needs to go to New Japan, agreed. Bayley versus Charlotte was fantastic. Owen's turn was okay. I liked Owen's turn, and I agree Charlotte versus Bayley was good. Braun wins Andre Giant Battle Royal. The show a weak tie. Emma was a waste. Bayley winning is Hug Life. Jericho ending was epic. Joe will fuck you up, period. Victor Varela for the US title in a 4-way. Tyler Dillon gives Raw a win. Heavy J says, WWE needs to book Roman Reigns how New Japan Pro Wrestling booked Naito. Anthony Bishop says, cool. Could that work, though? You know what? No, because Naito's cheered because he's cool, because he's an incredible pro wrestler, and because he's just Naito. Reigns is booed because he's Reigns, because he's a douche, and because he's a shit wrestler. He's not shit. He's all right. Raw was a very weak tie tonight. That's from Rick 1982. I agree. Gary North, WWE needs to release Roman. Do us all a favor. Heavy J, it's worth a shot, Both were faces. The crowd rejected, but in Naito case, New Japan went with the reaction. Now he's the hottest guy there. It could work. They've been trying that. They've been trying to Reigns be a dick. And it won't work. Like, New Japan fans and WWE fans are two completely different ball game, ladies and gentlemen. You got to remember that. Rich Swann versus Tozawa versus Neville be awesome. Brian Stinson, new commenter, thank you. Owens, if you're not a new commenter, I apologize for being a cock. Owens become a top guy tonight. I think he'll beat Goldberg now. Sad the friendship is over, but Owens had a major moment. I agree, and we said WWE is a moment company. So with that in mind, I touched on this, Goldberg and Brock does not need the damn belt. Not in any stretch of the imagination. That belt does not need to be involved. Brock versus Goldberg, say for example you do it not on television. We'll just use it for the sake of analyzing it. Goldberg versus Brock on television. Say 4.4 million people will watch it. If you had the Universal title to it, maybe 4.1 million will watch it. Or you could do Brock versus Goldberg and Jericho versus Kevin Owens for the Universal title. Maybe 4.3 million people watch it. That's just how you look at it. So instead of having 3 high-profile matches with Brock and Goldberg, Reigns and Taker, and Orton and Bray, you could have 4. You could have Orton and Bray, Reigns, Taker, Brock, Bill, and Kevin Owens versus Jericho for the Universal title. I really hope Kevin Owens defeats Goldberg at Fastlane because I really want Kevin Owens Jericho to be for the Universal title. And Brock and Bill, I will say this until I'm blue in the face, does not need that belt. That match will draw because of who's in it. The belt will make no difference at all. No difference at all. The belt will help promote Fastlane, but not Mania, for fuck's sake. Let's use a bit of common sense, will we please? Jesus. Thanks to Impact, I don't care about Kevin Owens and Jericho. FGH, ABCDE, they should release Rusev. Each to their own. I cried when Kevin turned on Jericho. By the way, Andy Paps, baby. Let's see if we have any more live comments, and then we'll be ready to hit the rack. Kocosports.net. I'm just checking live comments right now if you're wondering why I'm sat on my phone in silence. No, that's it for live comments. 6 likes, 0 dislikes for the live listeners. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys picking Kocosports.net to watch your Monday Night Raw review, because there is so many post shows out there. There is ridiculously amount, and the fact that you guys chose Koco Sports as your destination makes me a very happy chappy. So Kocosports.net, that's KOCOsports.net, so where the world goes to kick out, for combat sports above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. All the links in the description. Check them all out. The link to the official Koco Sports Facebook page, a link to my Facebook page, a link to Dave Koco's book that he made, Operation Freakshow, which you should go buy, the link to my Patreon page for exclusive content for as little as $1 per month. There was a fucking show called LK Sings where I sang the fucking NXT TakeOver song. What more do you want? And also, the actual website, Kocosports.net. MMA AM will have its own YouTube channel, will have its own iTunes, and it'll have exactly the same guests. But Wrestle AM will always stay on Kocosports.net because it's the Kocosports.net flagship, and I love Wrestle AM and I love Kocosports.net like it's my family, because it is. That in mind, Instant Infantry, stay safe, stay well. Appreciation for you picking Kocosports.net to listen. Appreciate the live comments. Appreciate you watching post-live. Stay safe, stay well. From LK, this grumpy-ass Englishman, will be catching your asses down the line.